Did you know that impacts to the head can increase the risk of developing dementia later in life? And did you know that Alzheimer's disease may be involved in that? I'm Matsuzaki, Asaki Matsuzaki, a psychiatrist. Receiving strong impacts during sports or being involved in traffic accidents has been found to increase the risk of dementia later in life. Various mechanisms are involved in this process, but one that can be pointed out is related to amyloid-beta, and that's what I'd like to talk about today. Amyloid-beta is a protein that accumulates in the brains of people with Alzheimer's disease. The stage on which the mechanism unfolds, through which impacts to the head, increase the later risk of dementia, is the axon. Neurons extend long axons from the cell body to transport various nutrients and other necessary materials all the way to the tip of the axon. Microtubules run through the axon. Did you almost nod along just now, thinking that the necessary materials are transported through these microtubules all the way to the tip of the axon? Not quite. The microtubule is like a rail, and kinesin carries materials from the cell body all the way to the tip of the axon on that rail. This kinesin, amazingly, scurries along on two legs to move forward. By the way, heading in the opposite direction, dynein scurries along on four legs to carry materials. When an impact is applied to the head, these axons become damaged. More specifically, a tile-like substance called tau protein attached to the surface of the microtubule peels away. Then the kinesin that had been scurrying along suddenly says, the place I walk on is broken, and comes to a stop. The flow of materials inside the axon becomes interrupted. As a result, materials currently in transit begin to accumulate there. One of the things that can cause problems is amyloid precursor protein. This amyloid precursor protein begins to be cleaved right there, and amyloid-beta begins to accumulate in that location. Amyloid-beta is a substance that contributes to the development of Alzheimer's disease. At this point, the accumulation of amyloid-beta is still confined to the inside of the neuron. However, once the neuron breaks down and the amyloid-beta is released outside, it can already be considered the same state seen in Alzheimer's disease. Furthermore, impacts to the head can also trigger the accumulation of other substances associated with various neurodegenerative diseases, such as tau protein and alpha-synuclein. The mechanism through which impacts to the head increase the risk of dementia later in life also involves amyloid-beta. I hope you can see now that impacts to the head in various sports, such as boxing and American football and many others, may be related not only to the damage to the brain at that moment, but also to long-term effects on the brain. We really need to protect our heads and brains, don't we? That's all.